Nigeria is one of Africa's biggest economies, but it is also one of the continent's largest emitters of greenhouse gases. And now, the country says that needs to change. At this climate summit, Vice President Kashim Shettima announces plans to end the country's reliance on diesel, replacing it with cleaner, hybrid energy systems. One of the first targets is the busy Onne port in Rivers State. Talks are underway with private investors to commit $60 million to electrify the port, turning it into the country's first green port with round-the-clock sustainable power.
We can no longer build yesterday's infrastructure for tomorrow's Nigeria. The truth is that climate action is not a luxury. It is an economic necessity. Discussions are currently underway with private investors to commit nearly $60 million to electrify the port and transform it into Nigeria's first green port. This is a strategic leap. Through an integrated hybrid system, we will phase out dependency, slash carbon emissions, and provide 24/7 sustainable and affordable power to terminal operators and port users.
3/4 of the country's emissions are set to come from infrastructure, especially in energy, transport, agriculture, and cities. But those sectors also fuel Nigeria's economy. And despite its low global carbon footprint, the country remains highly vulnerable to climate shocks, from desertification to flooding.
Indeed, our destination is net zero, but our journey is deeply local. This is why we are launching a State Innovation Challenge Fund, why we are hosting quarterly state engagement clinics, and why we are opening up the space for innovators, startups, and universities to shape the solutions that will define Nigeria's green century.
Nigeria's high vulnerability is one of the primary reasons why we are having this conversation. Because business as usual cannot continue. The time to adopt low carbon operations across all sectors of the economy is urgent.
Today's summit is not just about emissions. It is about equity. It is about economic survival. It is about building a future where infrastructure does not burden the planet, but restores hope and empowers society, especially the young, the poor, and the marginalized.
The Decarbonizing Infrastructure in Nigeria Summit brought together leaders, policymakers, and private sector players to map out a more climate-resilient path. Meanwhile, at a separate engagement, Vice President Shettima chaired the National Council on Privatization, where he warned against shady transactions and stressed the importance of transparency and legal due diligence in Nigeria's privatization efforts. The meeting reviewed major privatization plans, including the divestment of Ibadan Disco, the Zungeru hydropower concession, and updates on the $500 million World Bank-funded distribution sector recovery program.